Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's album review. I guess unofficially, you could call it the end of Series 1, sort of episode 10, Series 1. More on why that is in the next video, because we're going to be doing something different next week. And yeah, today we are reviewing an album called Nepenthe by Julianna Barwick. So different kind of music style for us to listen to that we hadn't previously listened to. Now, as it was my pick, I will go first and give my opinion on it after I just opened this non-alcoholic grapefruit flavored beer. So yeah, I'll say it straight away. I didn't particularly like it. But I didn't hate it either. I thought it was a difficult album to review. I would say it was very similar. Each track in general was very, very similar. It was that recorded voice like on loop constantly, or for most of the time anyway. And so yeah, I found it repetitive. And I found it difficult to review because I don't think it's a sort of album you really review song by song in a way. It's almost like, well, Brett said he thinks it's going to be like spa music. So in my head, I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm listening to spa music, which I guess it probably kind of was in a way. So I was trying to envisage myself if I was in a spa, having some treatment done or whatever, relaxing, would I enjoy this type of music? And maybe I would. I don't know. It's hard to say because I wasn't in that spa situation. I was laying on my bed, and I guess I found it quite relaxing. I did want to fall asleep at one point when I was listening to it. But in terms of actually really liking it, no, I can't say I actually liked it and enjoyed listening to it. One thing I would add is that my wife, she heard me playing it and she didn't like it at all. She said it wouldn't make good spa music. It almost sounded like it was underwater. It was happening like under the ocean kind of thing, and some kind of evil mermaid swimming around. I don't know, but yeah, she didn't like it. But obviously the review is about what I think of it, and yeah, just not great, but difficult to really review in my opinion, if that makes any sense. Brett, what about you?
Yeah, everything you said there, it made sense to me. I don't know how I feel for other people, because obviously I've listened to it. I know exactly where you're coming from. It is a very difficult album to review. I kind of found myself making more notes about titles of songs, background of the CD, rather than the songs themselves. It was very repetitive. It was weird. At times, I did quite enjoy it and found it quite relaxing. And like you, because obviously we spoke about it being sort of a spa. We've talked about before, listen to certain songs, certain albums in certain environments that will change how you probably think. So I was like you, trying to think, okay, if I was in a spa situation or a relaxing situation, would I still enjoy it? And I actually found at times again, it's very difficult because you've got to actually probably be in that situation to really see how it makes you feel. But otherwise, I found at times, a bit like what you were saying, I actually don't think it at times would make good spa music. I found times it wasn't that relaxing. Either it was because it was too repetitive. I know spa music like that can be repetitive, but I've seen repetitive, or it just didn't sound right. It was a bit too of a high pitch, or yeah. So I sort of agree with what your wife was saying with there. But like I said, at times, definitely the case. I found it really nice, but otherwise, no, it wasn't good as an album, and for me, not even good for a relaxing overall environment for most part.
Well, I was thinking as well, like maybe assuming that you were listening to it in a spa kind of relaxed situation, maybe in a way it's good that it is repetitive and doesn't change too much. Because I think if you're in a relaxed situation, I don't know, I might be wrong here, but if you're listening to something and then suddenly it changes to something completely different, that kind of can almost take you out of the zone. So maybe in a way that type of music needs to be almost a bit quite similar throughout. I don't know. What do you
No, I
think?
totally agree. I do agree with that. But I think it could also be where it does sort of change a tiny bit, like not just suddenly, but almost like gradually in different ways,
Gradually,
I
yeah.
suppose. But I do agree that actually, when you're probably getting a massage in a spa, the more repetitive, the more relaxing, the probably better. And that's why it is a hard one to sort of review unless you're really in that situation to really maybe appreciate it.
Okay. Well, we can now go through the songs. Probably like you, I don't have too much to say about them. The first one, Offing, I just put, it was the first song, so I didn't know what was going to happen. I just put relaxing. That's all I put.
Yeah, I really put so nothing to say. However, again, with the title, it's a very strange title. I don't know if you feel with with the word or term offing. And it wasn't until then I actually realised this particular album is actually in reference to a death of a relative. Julianna said about this album. So when you have that first track offing, it's sort of a bit of a strange start there. And even the album title itself, I did a bit of research into. So Nepenthe, it's taken from a Greek plant, which apparently is almost like a drug plant. So you generally would have taken that plant to escape realism and help you with grief. In this one, but there is actually a plant that it's actually based on, which is like a carnivorous plant of that name. But apparently in Greek mythology, it's something to do a plant that did help to deal with grief. So that's generally the feel you're probably getting with a lot of this album.
Okay, there's actually a famous, well-known FIFA YouTuber called Nepenthe. So it's like written like that with a Z on the end. So maybe he's taken it from the same thing. I don't know. Then the second song was The Harbinger. I would say this one, maybe I'd say was the best one on the album. I think there was a little bit more going on in this one. I put echoey choir plus piano keys, more happening in this track. It just seemed a little bit more, a bit more happening.
Yeah, I get that there. I kind of put it the same as the one before, but I totally agree with what you said there. But again, I was more intrigued about the title Harbinger. And again, a bit of research here. So, what do I write here? A personal thing. Oh no, I haven't got it all written here. So apparently, it's about the meeting of a person or thing in different universes as such. So I think in this sense, it's terms with death. So the passing meeting of two people in that sense there. So that's what apparently Harmony was from there actually.
Okay. So just looking at some of these song titles, you can kind of see how it's about the memory of another person, which, what did you think of, see, when I first started listening to it, I thought it was like a choir singing, like a lot of people. But then I saw a YouTube video of her, and I think it was titled something like the One Person Choir. So it's made to sound like it's a number of people singing, but it's actually just this Julianna Barwick, the one person.
Yeah, I thought that might have been the case. I think there's other songs where she's done the same thing, where I guess she's just recorded one bit and then she does another bit and puts it all together. Which it probably puts a lot of work and effort into actually how do you go about making an album like this, and obviously all these little things there. So at first I did think it was like a choir, but then I could tell that it was all very similar.
Okay. The next song was One Half. I just put down proper singing briefly. There was a bit of like actual proper singing, but it was very brief. That was all.
Yeah, and had some lyrics and stuff to it. Yeah, so what I put there. Really.
Look into your own mind. I put down no words, choir voices building up. It sort of started to build up a little bit. So I'm not quite sure what I meant by that. No words, but choir voices building up. But didn't really like. Wow, it was all right.
Yeah, this is where I started thinking, and this is like a particular song I found that actually I wouldn't quite enjoy the that's it. Even though I've said before, you don't want to be too, you want it to change, which it does, but I don't know, just there was something about it. I can't quite explain it. Where it was getting sort of high, and it just didn't feel like didn't feel that relaxing to me.
Okay. Then we had Pyric. I just put down similar to others, echoey choir voices.
Yeah, again, very similar. So again, I was more intrigued about the title itself. So this one, it was sort of meaning, it talks about victory at a loss. So the idea that, so for example, I think about they put on there about with First World War, obviously World War that had been won, but obviously many people died, and that's the thing where the sort of term comes from. So even though you won a victory, there's also a lot of loss that comes with it as well.
It's interesting. So could you use it in a football situation if your team wins a match, but you end up with red cards in your team and injuries? Do you think that would work?
Yeah, I think you probably could. So I might try and try and see if we can use that in a sentence next time there. But yeah, I think that's the idea of it. So celebrating victory, but at a great loss.
Okay. Then we had Labyrinthine. I just again put down similar to others. I didn't really couldn't distinguish this from any of the others, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's funny for me. The note put here, so this one actually feels a bit more like a Christmassy song for me. I can't remember what about it, but I was listening for it was quite Christmassy there. And again, it's weird because obviously it's labyrinthine, not like labyrinth, which obviously I'm guessing the term comes from, but the actual definition means irregular and twisting, or intricate or confusing.
Well yeah, labyrinth is like a maze, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where so it comes from there. So that's obviously where I guess the term labyrinth maze comes from. But yeah, the actual meaning of the actual words, yeah.
Okay. Then we had Forever. So again, I guess kind of thinking about the memory of someone. I put again very similar. There was a bit of song in the latter part of it though.
Yeah, again, it's how very the same. Again, at least there was a bit of more different voices to it. It was a slightly better one I preferred, but again, nothing to scream or shout about.
Okay. Then we had Adventure of the Family. Again, that makes sense in terms of throwing back to somebody who's passed away. I put down different instrumentals, but sorry, 1 second, but same echoey voice. So it was a bit different with the instrumentals, what was going on there. Can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, still that same echoey voice was still happening.
Yeah, and like I think at this point, even though it was slightly different, I think it was getting a bit too repetitive to me. I said it's a hard one. That's when you're trying to sit there and listen to him, be critical about it, but try and review like we're trying to do. So I didn't really have many comments to say on that one. Just no comment on that.
Okay, Crystal Lake. I just put down, not sure what more can be said because I'm just like repeating myself here. It's just same stuff, really. I mean, probably someone who's really into this music would probably completely disagree with us. They'd say each song is unique and it has its own style. But for someone like us, who's not really into this sort of music and not really doesn't listen to it very much, it does sound quite similar, I think.
No, that's same problem there. I did find with Crystal Lake was a little bit different as well. And I've also right here had potential. So I think actually maybe if we maybe could work on it a little bit with Julianna, maybe we could make it into more commercial, more enjoyable from the masses. Maybe I kind of thought, but otherwise, yeah, it's the same. That's getting quite difficult to listen to.
Okay, and the last track, Waving to You, again, it makes sense. It's like goodbye and to the deceased person, you're waving or whatever. I just put down nothing happened, and from what I remember, there was no voice in this one.
Yeah, it was just again we've talked keep repeating ourselves about sort of ending of albums, and actually for an end of an album, this is probably quite fitting, works quite well. But yeah, it was just sort of musing sort of eye down a bit there. But again, I did find I would struggle to probably relax to that particular song from there.
And yeah, that was the end of the album, and I was happy to see the back of it. To be honest, yeah, I didn't hate it. I just don't know. It's just not really what I really want to be listening to. At least not in this situation. Like I say, maybe in a more relaxing situation, yeah, to be honest, if I'm thinking about it, out of the 10 albums we've listened to so far, I know we're going to talk about this more in the next video, but from a relaxing point of view, I probably would want to listen to this compared to the others, I guess. But even so, wasn't really feeling it, you know. So I guess that's all from me regarding this album. Brett, is there anything else you want to add? Anything else you
No,
found out?
again, no, like I said, you summed up there quite well there. But like I said, I'm still glad we kind of listened to it, and like I said, it was really interesting to see sort of the more intricate parts of the back part of the album. So not necessarily the tracks themselves, but the meaning of words and how it was influenced to make that sort of happen. So it was a good one to do in that sense. But otherwise, for me, yeah, I didn't overly enjoy it. And like I said, I also didn't think I could enjoy it in a relaxing sense either, personally.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there that you're glad you listened to it. So I never regret listening to an album, no matter how much I dislike it, because it's still something new that you listen to, and you learn something about it. So yeah, again, always happy to listen to any sort of music, really. And yeah, I guess that's all for today. We have got something different coming for you next week. You'll find out on Wednesday in the kind of, I suppose, introduction video, so to speak, really, for what's going to hit your screens next Sunday. So yeah, I don't think we should go too much into it now. Everything will be disclosed on Wednesday. Okay, so that's all from us. So we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Be sure to give that video a watch. It's definitely something different and something interesting. So goodbye.